Hello, my name is Katerina Velkov and you're watching Weekly World Climate Change News. The operator of the ruined Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant is considering dumping huge amounts of contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean. The company no longer has room to store it, said Japan's environmental minister. 8 years after an earthquake and tsunami triggered Japan's worst nuclear disaster at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, Tokyo Electric Power Co. has continued to pump water into coal fuel coals. Once it is used and contaminated, the water is put into storage. Fires in the lowlands of Bolivia have burned more than 1 million hectares, devastating forest reserves and protected areas. The fires have burned crops for more than 50 farming communities and left 500 animal species vulnerable. Farmers are pressured to plant monocultures and use chemicals that cause deforestation due to increased partnerships with transnational food companies such as Monsanto and Cargill. However, there has been a lack of coordination within the government and delayed response to international aid. Recently, World Water Week launched an online water scarcity clock, providing information relevant to SDG 6 targets, clean water and sanitation, along with visualizations of national-level data on countries' levels of water stress, water scarcity, and absolute water scarcity. The water scarcity clock is meant to give policymakers real-time information and provide visualizations of predicted water stress and scarcity globally in 2030. The Environmental Protection Agency pledged to aggressively reduce animal testing and to end funding for mammal tests by 2035. The move makes the EPA the first federal agency to set a timeline for ending animal tests. It will first reduce new mammal tests and funding by 30% by 2025. It also promised $4.25 million towards the development of alternative methods for testing the safety of chemicals. The center reserved one of the EPA grants to develop alternative methods for assessing the impact of chemicals on the brain. Hosted by the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environmental Program, the Pacific Climate Change Center is a partnership between the governments of Japan and Samoa. Its goals are to improve regional coordination and share climate change information, traditional knowledge, and solutions. Its intended purpose is to serve as a hub for climate change with emphasis on providing practical tools, knowledge, support, and training to address adaptation and mitigation priorities of Pacific Islanders. Over the last weekend, Australia bushfire arrived and destroyed the historic lodge and the beloved Getaway, which is one of Australia's oldest nature resorts. Experts and some state officials warned that climate change and drought threaten to bring Australia its worst fire season on record. A 7-year review published by the UK government reported that nearly 5,000 harbour porpoises, dolphins and whales have been left stranded on UK shores in the last decade. The highest of standings was recorded in 2017, with more than 1,000 noted. Researchers state that this rise potentially is associated with multiple causes, including increases in local reporting effort and seasonal variation of the population density of some species. The UK had won formal international backing to host the key United Nations climate tests. The COP26 meetings, which is the most important round of UN talks since the Global Paris Agreement, will be held in Glasgow in late 2020, and over 30,000 delegates from around the world will come together to commit the ambitious action to tackle climate change. Scientists are hoping to impenetrate the closely related southern white rhino using harvested eggs from the last 2 northern white rhino cows and frozen sperm collected from 4 rhino bulls before their deaths. The northern white rhino in vitro embryos were successfully created at Avanta Laboratories in Cremona, Italy. Researchers from Kenya, Italy, the Czech Republic, and Germany are still fine-tuning the implantation procedure before the embryos are transferred into a surrogate mother, but are hopeful a northern white rhino calf can be born via surrogacy within the next 3 years. You will watch in Weekly World Climate Change News, and we hope you will join us next week.